Okay. Amatawa, which is the one term I know in Arabic, which means have a good life. Okay, so a few things. Working just really kind of makes me tired sometimes, but I've decided, because I eat relatively healthy, I've decided I'm surmounting any kind of like just stress by getting really clean in my eating again. Like I'm trying to eat really good. I usually eat relatively good, but I'm gonna try and get back on smoothies. I'm trying to eat less sugar. Like I'll eat natural like sweets and things like fruits and vegetables. But I just feel like okay, I mean, a lot of food in the American diet is processed, right? Well, in every diet in Western, Eastern, any culture these days, food is processed. It just is. But I truly believe in eating super healthy. Like it has a lot of merit to it, really, you know? So, yeah, I'm trying to make a concerted effort, although sometimes I used to be much better at it. Like, I still eat healthy, though, really. So, things I could recommend to you. Like, okay, I don't want to be preachy about it. Stop smoking, stop drinking, stop overeating, stop eating like really bad, you know, eat relatively healthy. Try to be health conscious. Like to the I think so the solid went bad fast. I'm just gonna take out the good parts. So anyway, like to the best of your ability, eat health conscious. Be a health conscious person. Like really, when I always tell people I cannot stand like okay, a lot of people love the social life. They love to drink and they love to smoke. And I'm not saying like, oh, I always eat perfect, but I do eat and believe in eating relatively healthy. And I have to say, I never get sick. I just don't. And I think eating your fruits and veggies make a big, big, monumental difference. It really does. Like it's in the totality of your health. Just eat healthier. Like you know, give up the and look. One thing I am working on though is I'm not going to eat as many sweets. Like, and I'm trying to eat more like salads again. And I do like the vegan proteins, but I'm thinking like more beans, more tofu sometimes than like the mock meats, you know? I don't know. Although I don't think if you are going to be vegan, I'm going to be honest with you, though. I don't think mock meats are necessarily bad. I just think a little bit more moderation, like not like making it as many meals, like because I can get in a rut as a vegan. I can get in a rut where I'm just eating a lot of mock meats because they're convenient, and I would just heat them up, and I just eat that, like. And yeah, I need to make my salads again. I really do. Like salad is so refreshing. It's so good. And onion. It needs to chop your onions. I'm just saying. I love onions. So why am I calling this making a Halloween salad? It's Halloween. I made a jack-o'-lantern the other night. Isn't he kind of cute? He's kind of cute. Just a little bit, right? I like him. So yeah, I made a little jack-o'-lantern the other night, and I'm cutting up my salad. Let's see. Let me put the viewfinder in. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I'm making a salad. I wonder if this went live or not. Like, I forgot to share it before I started. Anyway, just been chopping away and whatnot and talking away and chopping away at my salad. Yes. So let's check. Let's see how. I'll look to see. See if I'm live on my other channel. My technique for. Okay. Double checking my other channel just to see if my live stream is live because you know when you do social media, YouTube, anything by yourself, you have a lot of like things that you have to update. Although you know this is one thing that I think is kind of cool about being a YouTuber. Like I started out as a blogger many years ago. I used to write on a website hub pages and just over time I became like a YouTuber, but you know, the way that we that I do YouTube is more organic for me. Like, I don't do it like in an influencer kind of way. Like, I don't claim to be an influencer. I've just always done YouTube for years, and my other channel does have, it has a lot of subscribers now. It has 29,500 subscribers. That's more of a hair related channel. This channel is a little bit smaller, but it's growing. And I've just decided, like, I'm doing social media in a way that makes me happy. I don't think social media has to be unhealthy, but this is the difference. I think you need to be authentic on social media. Like, you have to, like, do it in a real way. So yeah. Okay. Yep. So, yeah. And for me, I do believe in the gospel of eating healthy. I just think that there's so much benefit to it. Like, when you eat your fruits and veggies, you feel so much better. You just do. You do. I mean, it's truth, and I just realized, like, even though I'm, like, vegan, like, I'm not the strictest, like, sometimes, okay, I know some of the activist type vegans would be like, oh my god, if you eat a donut or something, then you're not vegan anymore. But look, since 2013, I haven't ate meat. I have not ate turkey since Thanksgiving in 2013. That's a long time. And I've pretty much eliminated all dairy. So occasionally I might eat a donut or something, but I just think health wise, I don't think any kind of donut's really good for you because it's got sugar in it. So that's something that I'm telling myself. I want to kind of get out of that habit of, like, eating donuts and then, like, making smoothies. And even when the holidays come up, I think I'm going to make a pumpkin pie at home, of course. I need to buy some stuff to do that, actually. But even though I want to make a pumpkin pie, I don't want to, how should I put it this way? I don't want to be eating lots of sugar all the time. I just don't think it's good for you. I really don't. Eating sugar is not the best thing you could be doing for yourself. It really isn't. You need less sugar in your life, no matter what. Sugar just really... And yeah, that's another thing too with the holidays coming up. Like, everybody's going to be like, there's going to be lots of sugary things. And now that, I mean, we still have COVID, but lockdown's kind of coming out of it. Okay. That's one thing too. Like, people are bringing more things in. They're kind of like making up for last year. And boy, was last year an interesting year. This year was an interesting year too. But I digress. Anyway, so yeah, the holidays mean a lot of just eating. Like, people want to eat. I don't know. People want to eat however they want to eat, I guess. But to be truthful, I just don't want to eat. Like, my opinion. I don't want to eat a lot of junk food all the time. I just don't. Like, I really want to try to eat healthier. So, I'm going to make a salad. And yes, I make salads at midnight sometimes. Why not? Why not? It's delicious. Salad's good around the clock, really. And I thought about putting some chickpeas in it, but I really just I just want a salad. I might have some seeds in the fridge that I'll add to the salad. Maybe I'll do that to see what I have. I need to run my dishwasher. That's another thing. I just feel like when you're working, like, you kind of all, like, I like to clean the house, but I just, like, my schedule goes up and down and back and forth. And I feel like, oh, I fall back behind in my cleaning, and I feel like I'm guilty about it. I do. Like, I have a lot of cleaning and still do, and I'm just like, I could so much. I really could. So that's just kind of my update about every little thing and whatnot. Okay, so I've been watching Magnificent Century Cosm. Okay, it's like the sequel to Magnificent Century because I loved Magnificent Century. Okay, it's a Turkish series. Like, the first one's based on Harem Sultan, who was a Ukrainian woman who was abducted by Tartars, and she was sold into slavery in Istanbul. And the series is, and the actual history of harem, it's very beautiful. I mean, she ends up falling in love with Suleiman, who breaks the tradition of being a sultan who only takes, concubines for a short period of time to have, a son, and progresses to have several children with her, and he marries her. I mean, he breaks all the rules of that time because the Ottomans had decided 200 years earlier that it was preferable for a sultan to have concubines instead of a wife who would have her loyalties to her family. So the whole Ottoman system is very interesting. I mean, slavery is really deplorable, but the interesting thing about the Ottomans is that they took people into slavery, and the people that ended up in the court, even though they were slaves, they ended up sometimes having really high level positions within the Ottoman, like the Grand Vizier, Ibrahim Pasha. He was a slave, like abducted from they think a Greek background. So a lot of Turkish people these days are probably Greek, Balkan, Slavic, like in the Istanbul region, due to that era of, it's based on a really sad, really hard, traumatic time in history. I mean, it's a slave trade is what it is. Why do you think the word slave exists? Because if you look at the word Slavic, it comes from the word slave, and it's a very unfortunate part of history. But yes, Europeans were enslaved too, and the Ottomans did it, and I'm not saying that what they did was good. I mean, slavery is it's not a good system. It's barbaric. It really is. But it is an interesting story that this woman, Harem, was a slave. I mean, and she ended up being freed by Suleiman, and he married her. And she became basically, I mean, she was never an official queen, but she became like an unofficial queen. I mean, she had a lot of influence, and she actually opened the doors to other women becoming influential. And Kazım is later on, Ahmed, I think, is the great grandson of Suleiman. So anyway, there's tumultuous times on the Ottoman Empire because honestly, after Suleiman, his son Selim, I think they called him Selim the Blonde or Selim the Drunk because he liked to drink the winey wine, and like he just was kind of a wino, okay? And some of the other sultans, they just weren't as good as Suleiman. Suleiman had a 46-year reign. He was lawgiver. He was really into art, architecture, and then of course he kept expanding the empire, which continued on. But they say, after Suleiman, there was a decline in the Ottoman Empire going forward. So the sultans weren't quite as powerful. But what's interesting is Harem opened the doors to women actually behind the scenes becoming much more powerful, sometimes being almost like regents for their son, who sometimes might become a sultan at a young age and wasn't old enough to rule the country. Kazım. I'm still watching the beginning of the series Kazım. It's so interesting though. I really love the first few episodes. I mean, it's kind of storybookish, a little fantasy. The love story between Ahmed and Kazım. She's a Greek girl. It's a little bit of a fantasy storybook type scenario. However, what's really interesting about Kazım is just that she became such a powerful woman, but the part of the series that's just so funny is that I get that shows like to sometimes change actresses, or sometimes an actress leaves the show. But after 6 episodes, even if the episodes are 2 hours long, okay, each of these Turkish series, episodes, are almost like watching a movie. Okay? I mean, Koreans, you watch Korean shows, you watch Turkish shows, they're long. They're 2 hours long. It's like watching a movie, and you're reading the captions. So you begin to pick up the language. And yes, I began to learn a few little words of Turkish. I'm not a linguist, but I've picked up a few things like ash and other words. But anyhow, what I was going to tell you is in this little story about Kazım that's really interesting. This is very fascinating. Is that the thing that's so strange about it is, why did they change the actress? 6 episodes in, it's very confusing. Like, I get sometimes changing actors, but she doesn't even look like the original actress. Like, the actress that they picked at the beginning has blonde hair, like the Greek girl. And now Cosm has brown hair, and they don't even have similar features. I would say the second Cosm, I really do like her acting, though. The thing that I really liked about Cosm, and maybe this is her in real life, some people really miss how fiery Harem was. Like, Harem gets jealous. Like, but Cosm's just very cool and collected, and I do like that about her. Although, to be honest with you, I haven't read as much about Cosm as I have about Harem, so I can't even validate like what's historically accurate in this series yet to a great degree. But I do have to say that it's pretty funny how they changed. Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't know. Did they want to have like a metamorphosis where Cosm, like I guess you could put it this way, Anastasia, like because they do start calling her Cosm. I noticed like shortly after. Okay, so she leaves Anastasia because oh my gosh, Sultana Thera like was really upset that the Garay brothers. Okay, they're the descendants of Genghis Khan. So um you have Sultana Safi's daughter, Farah. She loved the Garay brothers. She loved Mehmet. And they have like a secret love affair, okay? That might not be vetted. I'm not sure if that really happened. But anyway, she's not supposed to marry Mehmet. And somehow it comes out and Mehmet's going to be executed. Although at the last minute, his life is saved because his brother, Shaheen, like begs for the Sultan because the Sultan owed him a favor of not having him executed. And then, they let him off the hook. And then Mehmet and Farah are still in love with each other, but Farah is so heartbroken that she's gonna teach the Sultan a lesson, which is a really sick kind of lesson. If this is based on, I mean, I hope this storyline is fictionalized. Disgusting. She goes to some sort of, I don't know what you would call him. I would have to look it up. Apothecary, maybe? Maybe he's an apothecary, but if this is something an apothecary would do, and it kind of ties into things going on right now, like pandemics and all that. So anyway, he says things like, I have all these different diseases that could take over Istanbul, and smallpox, malaria. I guess she picked smallpox. Like, how evil. So anyway, she has the smallpox liquid put into some sort of almond snack for Sultan Ahmed because she's his aunt and she's just so upset that he was going to kill her lover. So yeah, Ahmed's eating these little almonds, and his half brother Mustafa comes to eat the almonds, and it's kind of a curious scene because she tells Mustafa, "Oh, you don't want almonds," and Ahmed kind of looks like she says something along those lines, like, "Oh, you don't want the almonds; they're not good for your stomach or something." Like trying to get Mustafa not to eat them, but he does eat them. So anyway, Ahmed comes down with the smallpox, and so does Mustafa. And here's the part that gets really surreal. Anastasia, who later becomes Kazım, somehow begs to see, like, she's in the dungeon at first because she tried to escape. There's a lot of things going on. There's always an escape scene. She tried to escape, but she changed her mind. So the young Janissary Xander, the young Janissary recruit who tried to help her escape, could have risked his life for her because he loved her. Aşk. By the way, I love the Turkish word for love. Aşk. There's just something about it. It's like, I mean, the Turkish language, I really like hearing people speak Turkish because it has like this it's hard to describe, just like this guttural. It's just very rhythmic. I can't really articulate exactly how it sounds, but Turkish, just some of their words, like once you hear the word, like love is just, it's an okay word, but aşk, like when they say aşk and they just look all like dramatic in these series, it kind of makes you like fall in love with them, like the way they say it and when they look into each other's eyes. Because, like, do you ever see anybody in the English language go, love. Like maybe amour in French, okay? Like amour or amore. Like you can kind of in the romantic languages. But love? Like I've never seen anybody say love. It's just not that exciting of a word, to be honest. But ashk. It makes you want to fall in love in a Turkish way. Not in a boring American way. Because, let's fall in love with Turkish soap operas. Which is what I'm doing. Because, like, what is the remedy for player culture in Southern California? I don't know. Let's watch a Turkish soap opera. That's what I do. It's so romantic. Even though it's, like, so contrived, right? Um, like, I don't know. I just always think, I like Turkish soap operas. They're fun. Even though this one's supposed to be based on history, I think there's some historical fantasy in there. Oh, there's a lot, okay? So anyway, I digress. So yes. Ahmed has been poisoned with smallpox. And at first they think that Anastasia did it, but it turns out that they realize she didn't. And then Farah is told by, Shaheen that, oh, your daughter poisoned the Sultan, and she's really upset. So they arrange for her to marry Mehmet. But Shaheen, who like kind of orchestrated the whole thing with Farah, he wanted to be like the successor to the throne if Mustafa and Ahmed perished from the smallpox. He's not the chosen one. How creepy this all is, by the way. So dark. So anyway, somehow Anastasia spends time with Ahmed, even though he has smallpox, and she's like I don't know, she's just immune, like she's a superhuman, and she doesn't get the smallpox. Like, how does that happen? I mean, maybe it's happened, but it just got weird. And then like one of the imams brought like a necklace that had some sort of prayer on it. I mean, I'm not a Muslim, but I suppose like that's a thing in Turkish culture. I would really have to research it. I've been reading about the evil eye. I suppose that is a thing in Turkish culture where you have these little like trinkets that are supposed to ward off like bad energy, so to speak. So anyway, the imam gives like, because he doesn't want to go in, he can't go in with Ahmed, he has smallpox, gives Kazım, who's Anastasia still right now, this little necklace, and she's laying with Ahmed, and then there's a crowd outside. They want to know if the Sultan is sick, because if he is, oh no, they're going to take over the throne, and this angry crowd's there. So Kazım, well, she's still Anastasia. I guess she makes her complete metamorphosis. So even though it's really weird how they changed the actress, it is kind of interesting and clever. It's like she leaves as Anastasia. Like she's wearing this beautiful white dress with this veil that she covers her hair with. And then she goes out to the crowd. And all of a sudden she's Kazım, okay? But they're still calling her Anastasia, but she's Kazım, basically. So she goes out into the crowd. And she's like trying to tell them that, oh, the Sultan will be here. He's going to be better. He's sick right now, but he's going to come out on payday, because there's a day that they pay the Janissaries that he's going to live. And they're like, no, he already has smallpox. He's not going to live. So anyway, there's like shooting in the crowd, and Kazım gets hit. But, oh my gosh, like, suspension of belief. This is very fantasy. Kazım gets hit by a bullet and she survives being hit. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's a witch. It's a miracle. Because the necklace with the Islamic prayer underneath her dress, like, saves the bullet from penetrating her. Oh my god, this is so soap opera. But it's a little fantasy too, okay? It's a little bit of a fantasy. It's just like, really? It's pretty clever though. But anyway, I'm up to episode 7, and now like Kazım is a new character. But I think it's kind of like it's weird how they did it, but I guess I kind of get it. It's like a metamorphosis. Like she has made a transformation from being the young innocent girl Anastasia to a mature woman called Kazım. And I do like this Turkish actress. She's very cool and collected. Just like, I did like Meryem Azareli. If I'm saying the Turkish names wrong, Please, I'm sorry. I love her acting, but she is very fiery. Whereas the thing about Kazan that's kind of cool is like she's just very collected. She's just very like she's calm. She doesn't get really phased by things. She doesn't scream. She just kind of she handles things. It's kind of cool. So yeah, but these are just kind of my reactions to the show right now. Like I said, I haven't read a lot. Like I've read a few things about Kazan, but I haven't read tons and tons about her. So, like if you want to share, like I don't know how many people have actually seen this show. Maybe a few people have. If you want to share, please feel free to share what you think about it. Like, how has anybody seen this? Like, it's just well, a lot of people have seen it, but I don't know how many people have like. The thing about Turkish shows is they are very popular and people do watch them in America, but it seems more like a YouTube audience. Whereas overseas, I think they've shown these more on television. I've heard that Magnificent Century was on Netflix a while back, but the thing about it was it wasn't the whole series. So the cool thing about this Turkish channel or media thing that publishes like the Magnificent Century series, like they actually put the whole thing online and it's free to watch, which I think is kind of cool because like it's free. Like I mean, there's ads, of course, there's ads, but it's free for people to watch all around the world, and I kind of like that. So because these days it's hard for me to find shows I really like, but I've really gotten into this series, so I'm probably gonna go back and finish the first Magnificent Century. But the reason I stopped was because I already knew, like, spoiler alert, I'm telling you a lot of things about the show. I already knew in real life that Abraham Pasha was going to be, assassinated because he'd been usurping power from Suleiman. But the thing that I didn't know for sure was, oh my eyes from the onion. I didn't know how the series was going to do it, but I was getting kind of burnt out on the whole Suleiman harem like interactions. Earlier in the series, it was really beautiful. It was real exciting, but I just feel like the first installment of Magnificent Century kind of loses its momentum. Like I was getting back into watching it, but now I don't know. It's just getting really dark. And a lot of it's contrived too, because yes, it's contrived. It's all a soap opera, but when it's just contrived, dark, and there's nothing else, it kind of makes you think, like, why am I still watching this? Like, I still do like the series, but I just have to say earlier on, that's the part I like the most. And I think a lot of people have said that in the comments. And also, too, Miriam Ezraeli, she does leave the series after, like, episode 100 or so, and I don't know, maybe just from being burnt out, but I can't help but think, the writing kind of took a different direction. I don't really like how they were developing the storylines in this, even though I do love Magnificent Century. And another thing I'm just getting tired of is I hate Rustam. Like, Rustam is supposed to be, like, Harem's right-hand man, but, oh, God. I really hate Rustam, He's just nasty, like, and he kills people. Like, I guess he killed the keeper of the horses, like, for Suleiman. Like, look, I don't know how historically accurate that is, but just in the series, how he always kind of kills somebody to get ahead. And I can't admire him. And then, okay, this is another thing that makes it hard to feel like if you're just going off that series and the historical context of harem, like, how am I to respect her completely when she has somebody like Rustam being her right-hand man? How is she better than Abraham Pasha sometimes? It kind of makes you feel that way. And then, I don't know, but here's another thing about Abraham Pasha and Suleiman. Okay, so Abraham Pasha and harem, basically, like, they're the same person, but one's a man and one's a woman, and it's like they're jealous of each other, which is true to life. But the interesting thing about Abraham Pasha and Suleiman is that they have a very close relationship, I don't know the complete details of it. I wasn't there, but some people speculate, were they gay? Like, did they love each other? Like, were they a couple secretly? I mean, that could have been a thing. I don't know if people are just having Alexander the Great fantasy since Suleiman, like, saw himself as Alexander the Great and he was conquering land and territory. I mean, how ironic. Who knows? Like, how far did he take that fantasy? I'm just saying, I always think about these things. It's always kind of interesting. Do you think, like, is that true? Like, do you think that could have happened? But maybe people have a point about that. I don't know. Don't be offended if we say that historical characters may have done this and that. If you're offended by that, that's weird, okay? Because there's some evidence it might have happened, okay? We're not saying, like, oh my god, like, to insult you, but maybe they did. And it's not a bad thing if, like, they loved each other. That's not bad. But what I find interesting is that we're supposed to be, okay, the series I feel like wants us to be sympathetic to Hera. But I have a really hard time feeling that way when her right-hand man is Rustum, and the way that Rustum treats Nagar, even though she's not her, I don't know, there's just a lot of things that were kind of making me take a big break from Magnificent Century, the first installment. I will come back, but I've just been kind of not in the mood to watch it as much because of all that. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go eat my salad now, I guess. It's salad time. I'm gonna put my tomatoes and my onions back in the fridge, although I have to say, red onion's delicious. I love onion. It gives you energy. Onions are great. You need my energy so I can, work on social media, work on my YouTube, and do all that. Yeah. So that's all of my thoughts about Magnificent Century, and I hope you enjoyed this installment of making salad for Halloween with a cute baby jack-o'-lantern. Thanks for watching. Get my little party park and see you later. Bye.